It is Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyle Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. It is time for another mailbag edition of the show where you guys send in questions and we react to them with whatever you guys have for us. And you may be wondering, how do I be a part of the mailbag? Well, if you subscribe to the channel, which doesn't cost you a penny, then you can join us for our live shows, which happen each and every Wednesday. And turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. The latest happenings with your favorite team, they're covered right here on the channel. Whatever questions you guys got. You want to talk about the present with the playoff picture, the future with the draft, or years beyond, we answer them all right here on our Seahawks Today mailbag. Welcome in to Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyle Jones here with you. Time for another mailbag. You guys get questions. You're in luck because I got answers. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, off the jump from Korean Bandits. Do you think that Woolen will win Defensive Player of the Year? I don't think he's winning Defensive Player of the Year. But I do think that he's got a good chance to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he and Sauce Gardner are going to be neck and neck. Personally, I think it comes down to, this very end. Either way, from what I've been hearing, it sounds like that Sauce is the favorite to win it, but Tariq's right there. And if he has another one or two interception performance again the last week of the regular season, then maybe he walks in and takes the award away. But we'll see. Not a definite that it seems to be Sauce's. Really could go either direction as far as I'm concerned. Carlos writes in, #Seahawks, will Geno win MVP or comeback player of the year? MVP, no. Comeback player of the year, potentially. He's up there. Saquon Barkley is up there. There's a number of candidates when it comes to that comeback player of the year award, potentially. And, you look at what Saquon's done, his is a different case compared to Geno Smith. In Geno's case, you can't point to him having, a great career and then he got hurt or something and now he's bounced back. It's that he never played that great and this is his coming out party. In Saquon's case, he's dealt with these injuries, he's dealt with these issues, and here he is bouncing back. So two different arguments, but we'll see. I think he's got a shot for that comeback player of the year award there. Gary says, I'm sick of Jamal Adams. Will we get rid of him this offseason? I understand your frustrations. I think when you look at what the Seahawks have went through with Jamal Adams, obviously they did not get their return on investment in the Jamal Adams trade. That was something that I think they look back on with regret for sure. But when you look at his contract and the way things work out for next year, I don't know if it necessarily makes much sense for the Seahawks to move on from Jamal Adams of what it would cost them against the cap and everything there. So I know that's been talked about. A lot of people would love to see the Seahawks say sayonara to Jamal Adams, but you're not going to get much in return for him. He's still going to count a lot against the cap. I still think Jamal Adams is back next year. I think that even with everything that he's gone through, even if he's not going to play next year, if he got hurt again and you can't rely on him, it's still better, I think, to have him around and take on that possibility. You be the GM. Trade Jamal Adams? This is our pin comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Type T for trade. Type K for keep. What would you do with Jamal Adams this offseason? Let me know in the comments section. T for trade, K for keep. The Employed Boss says, do you think the Seahawks should draft Deuce Vaughn, running back from Kansas State, in the second round if he's still available? Deuce Vaughn's incredible. As a Kansas Jayhawk fan, I have seen a lot of Deuce Vaughn over the years, and personally, I am so glad that he is gone, that he's leaving from the National Football League, and we don't have to deal with him anymore in the Big 12 Conference. Thank goodness. Good riddance, Deuce Vaughn. I hope he has a very good NFL career, but thankfully it's not against my college team. With that said, Deuce Vaughn is like only 5'6". I'm not using a second-round pick on a 5'6" running back. No, not a second-round pick. Maybe a day 3 selection, but not a sixth-round pick. Not a second-round pick. Dylan writes, what do you think about Hendon Hooker? Well, I think he's a talented quarterback. Did a lot of great things for Tennessee this past season. They did things that they haven't done in forever with him this year. He was tremendous, and if he didn't get hurt, he may have won the Heisman Trophy this year. With that said, an ACL injury he's coming off of, very unfortunate situation. Doubt he would be able to play much next year. Check in the comments section. You guys know I read the comments section from time to time. And I've seen people ask, like, well, would you use a first or second-round pick on him? Not that high. Not for a player coming off the ACL. But if he's available in day 3, then he could take like a redshirt year of some sorts, get healthy, then see what you have out of him. But I want to use a high draft pick, put it that way, in Hendon Hooker. BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports, is offering a 125% deposit bonus. When you put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Seahawks125. You can bet on this weekend's game between the Seahawks and the LA Rams, as well as other games across the National Football League. And you can also bet on college football, including the national championship on Monday night between TCU and Georgia. I really like TCU plus 13 personally. You can also bet on NBA games, college basketball, whatever you're feeling. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Seahawks125 for 125% deposit bonus. With Neal out, beware the Rams tight ends. Tyler Higbee is arguably playing the best football of his career right now. He and Baker have had a really good connection between those two. And Tyler Higbee has always kind of been meh. Talented but not playing to his full potential, if you want to put it that way, when it comes to Tyler Higbee. But now, he and Baker have had some connection of some sorts. I don't know how to describe it. It's the ultimate odd couple between the two. So yeah, I'd be watching to see, what they do about trying to slow down Tyler Higbee and those Rams tight ends. Thaddeus writes in with a good draft class. Do you think the Hawks have potential to go on a serious playoff run within the next 2 years? Absolutely, I do. The foundation is being set. There's a lot to be excited about this Seahawks team and their future and everything building ahead here. To me, there's reason to be optimistic about this franchise going forward. Eventually you do have to figure out the quarterback situation for the long term, but you do have to fix the defense. All those things, though, I think the Seahawks have put themselves in a good position. And you look ahead to this next year's draft, you got 9 draft picks once again, and you had 9 last year, and you had one of the best draft classes you've ever had before. Future's bright in Seattle. There's reason to be optimistic and to think that this team is building for the future to build deep playoff runs as far as I'm concerned. Alex writes, how much would we have to pay Geno if we extend him? So we've been talking about this for the last, couple of months now. And I believe it was the London game, the report that came out from Rap Sheet, that the Seahawks had basically said, yeah, for sure, we're going to extend Geno Smith. And the numbers that I've seen out there are anywhere between $20 to $25 million a year on a 2 to 3 year deal. But I think the longer it goes on, if they don't get a deal done right away, the price tag goes up. And while I think Geno has been a really good fit for Shane Waldron in this system, that they've been on the same page, I think Geno's done enough that if you let him go to the open market, other teams could be interested in him as well and potentially drive up that price. If I'm Seattle, I'm getting a deal done as soon as I possibly can for the cheapest price before you hit the open market. If you let him hit the open market, who knows how much he could get after that point. Gina writes, any chance the Seahawks could bring in Lamar Jackson in the offseason? So here's the scenario here with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. In Lamar Jackson's situation, he obviously, his contract ends at the end of this year. and then in theory he would become a free agent. I would expect, even though Roquan Smith is also going to be a free agent, the Ravens, between choosing the two, would rather have Lamar Jackson than Roquan Smith. And so with that, I think that the Ravens are going to, if they have to, franchise tag Lamar Jackson. And then after that, you're looking at, trade partners if they can't get a deal done of some sorts. So with all that said, I think you're looking at Lamar Jackson not being an actual free agent, that you'd have to trade for him. You'd probably have to give up the same draft capital that you got for Russell Wilson, or maybe even more, to bring in Lamar Jackson. Could it happen? I mean, it could, but the chances are slim. And I don't know if you're Seattle, if you want to do that necessarily, if that's all worth it. He's a talented quarterback, but I don't know if you want to give up all what you just gained, essentially, as far as that goes. Should the Seahawks sign Lamar Jackson if they got the opportunity to do so? Should they do it? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know in the comment section below. Got time for a few more questions. This one's from Ryer. What receivers should we get in free agency for a third wide receiver to go with DK and Tyler Lockett? I'm not worried about free agency when it comes to wide receivers. I want to draft. I like Jordan Addison personally. I'm looking at all these receivers in this upcoming draft. To me, that's what I'm looking for your third wide receiver option. I'm not worried about free agent wide receivers this next year. I'm looking at drafting. Seattle's done a really good job at drafting as of late. To me, that's what I'm looking for, is players in the draft, not free agency. Steph Line says, should we trade up to get C.J. Stroud? I don't think you'd have to trade up to get C.J. Stroud. I think he'd be available with that number 3 pick. But here's a scenario to think about here. Okay? Hear me out on this. The number 3 pick, I think you're going to use on Will Anderson or Jalen Carter if they're available. Okay? You got that other pick, which we'll potentially know what it is this weekend. C.J. Stroud, let's say he gets past that top 5. If he's still around, maybe you trade that pick up and get C.J. Stroud. Maybe, with that other pick. But I don't think they're using the number 3, and I don't think they would trade up to 2 to get C.J. Stroud either. But that is possible. I have some questions about C.J. Stroud. I thought he was inconsistent at times this year. He had the talent to be a Heisman candidate, and he didn't put it all together. And that Ohio State team underperformed this year, did not meet the expectations of what they should have been, quite frankly. So, trade up for C.J. Stroud. I don't like the idea right now, but we can look into that. We have plenty of time to look at those possibilities over the next couple months. Got a big day coming up on Sunday here on the channel. We're going to be live for the Seahawks and Rams game about 30 minutes prior to kickoff. We'll react to the game in real time. We'll have a few drinks on hand. It is going to be a grand old time here on the channel. And then, if the Seahawks win, we are staying live through the Packers-Lions game as well. Me and Jeffrey Cooperstein, my guy Coop, will be here. It is going to be a crazy day. You'll want to be with us all afternoon long. A possible double watch party on hand as we react to the Seahawks and Rams, and hopefully we see the Seahawks find their way in the postseason. Join us coming up Sunday afternoon, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment. Click wants to know, we need to improve the D-line. Yeah, of course. Of course you got to improve the D-line. And Jalen Carter would be the guy just for that, potentially, to improve that D-line. But, yeah, the D-line has some obvious weaknesses, and they've not been able to stop the run much at all this year. I think priority number 1 when you come to this offseason is finding somebody that, can get in there, just be a road grader, and stopping that run as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. Next question comes in from Korean Bandits. Do you think that the Hawks draft more than one player in the interior defensive line? Yeah. You got 9 picks. Maybe not necessarily, 2 day 1 and day 2 guys. But later, yeah. I mean, you look at this past draft, and they drafted 2 edge rushers. They drafted 2 cornerbacks. They drafted 2 offensive tackles. So they have a track record of doubling up on positions in the draft. I think they very well could do that as far as I'm concerned. As always, you can follow me on the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Tyle Jones Live, talking about your Seahawks. It's a big week. If you're not following me on there, I mean, what are you doing? Give me a follow on those social media platforms, and I'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.